back to the lesson for today. I want to talk to you, as I said before, about certainty versus clarity. I want you to think about those two words with me here. Certainty is kind of defined as that it is true, that is predictable, right? If something is certain, you can trust that it is going to happen, right? You can trust that it's going to happen. Now, on the contrary, if you're talking about clarity kind of has two meanings. Clarity means that you can understand it, right? You are clear on the subject. Or, just as I said, it is pure. Clarity sometimes means purity. Okay, so I want you to think about those two terms, those two concepts here with me this morning. And I know this is hard for some of us. I'm a very conceptual person, and so I like to think these ways. But certainty is a real hard thing in today's world, right? Certainty is really, really hard. We don't know what's going to happen, in the election today. We don't know how that might affect people and the way they react to it. And we don't know how this coronavirus and some of the health struggles that many people are having, we don't know how that's going to come out. We don't have certainty, right? So it's really, really hard to know and to predict what's going to happen. We don't have certainty on certain things. Let me put it to you this way. A lot of the times I like to contrast two concepts when I'm teaching. And so let's just put certainty on a continuum across this board here. Certain means I'm certain about something and I'm uncertain, right? If I'm really certain about something, I'm over here. If I'm really uncertain about it, I'm over there. And then on top of that, let's transpose clarity on top, maybe on a y-axis like this. And if I am if I'm clear, I've got clarity, I'm up here on the top part of it. And if I'm unclear or I'm confused, I'm going to be down here. So now we've got a grid, if you will, that starts to look like this. And so let me explain to you, and I want you to think about your leadership and perhaps what you're doing in the world, if you're working with your job or your family or church or even in relationships. Today, where do you fall on this grid right here? Let me start by giving you an explanation. If you're in this world and you do not understand kind of where you're at and what you're doing, and you have no idea where you're headed, that's kind of a bad place to be, isn't it? Right? This is what I would call a storm zone. Because I've been on a big lake. I've been on Lake Michigan. And many of my friends and family, they know where this big lake can go when you're in the middle of a storm. You don't know where you're going, and you don't understand because you can't see where you're going. And you're in a storm, and this is where a lot of people today feel like our country is that we don't really know where we're headed, and we don't really understand where we're at, and we can't see, and we don't have clarity or certainty in our situation. And so that's kind of like being in a storm. And maybe you're in that storm today, and I want to just encourage you that I'm going to get you to some of these other zones here in a minute, okay? Now, if you're unclear about your purpose, about what your gifts and talents are, I want you to head towards clarity, right? And I want you to think, because if you're in the zone where you can't understand and you're unclear, but you've got to get clarity, I want you to think about that. If I start to remind myself of why I'm here, what my gifts and talents are, what I'm trying to accomplish in life, that's where I start to get clarity in my purpose, right? And I may still be uncertain, right? But I can trust that I've got clarity to do what I'm called to do, to stay in my lane and to do what I do best, right? That gives me clarity in my life. And if I've got clarity, even though I don't have, this is what I call a trust zone, right? I've got to trust that I understand my clarity, my purpose, right? My clarity, my purpose, and I've got to trust the uncertain. Right? I don't know what's going to happen, but I can trust that if I do my part, God's going to do his part, and we're going to get through it. Now, here's the easy part. Some of you might be in a place where you understand your clarity very well, and your life and your future are quite clear. You're on purpose, right? And you are on purpose. You are in the purpose zone. And this is where I would love to see that lots of us are there. That you understand your clarity, your purpose in life, and you know where you're headed, right? And so for some of us who are Christians, that's what I want to encourage in you, is that you may not think that you have clarity. You may not think that you have certainty, but when you really think about it, we do. And the Bible is a wonderful tool to teach us what our purpose in life is. Something that comes to my mind is, He has shown you, O man, what is good and what the Lord requires of you. That's Micah 6:8. But to love mercy, show justice, and to walk humbly with God. That's my purpose in God. That's my purpose in this world, right? And I'm certain, because I've put my faith in Jesus Christ as the personal Lord and Savior of my life, that I'm going to head to heaven when I pass away. And so I'm in the purpose zone in my life because I know who I am and I know where I'm going, right? If you don't know who you are and you don't know where you're going, you're in the storm, right? Maybe you know who you are, but you don't know where you're going. You've got to trust. And then let's look at this third or this fourth zone. Is there a possibility that you have certainty? Like you know what you're going to do tomorrow. You know like you might be trapped. This is what I call the trapped zone. You might be in a job where you know exactly what's going to happen. You go every day, you live your life, you get up in the morning, you go to work, you do your thing, you complain, you look at your phone 82 times, you go home, you complain about the day, you eat your dinner, you go, watch a little Netflix, and then you go to bed, and you look at your phone for the 82nd time, and then you go to sleep, and then you get up, and then you do it all over again, and you have no idea who you are, but you know exactly what you're going to do tomorrow. That's not a good place to be either, right? You're trapped, and I want to challenge you that you got to get clarity in your life. Are you doing what God has called you to do, right? I kind of went through that a little bit a year and a half ago, right? Had my little midlife crisis here. I changed what my direction was occupationally and financially and socially, and but it's okay because I wanted to live on purpose. And I've got to trust, right, and move towards the certainty that God gives me in my understanding that I know who I am and I know where I'm going, okay? So I want you to think about these things, and I want to encourage you today that even though you may not have certainty, we may not have certainty, all right, about exactly everything, but we do have certainty on some things. And you know what? They always say, the sun will come up tomorrow. We're going to trust that God is going to be on his throne and that things are going to go the way he planned them to go for this world. We need to know who we are. We need to know where we're going. And if you're not in that, I pray for you this morning that you would have that clarity and certainty in your life. Well, that's it for me. I hope you've had a great time. I hope that gives you something fun to think about. And once again, we'll just sing us out here. But hey, go out, and if you haven't voted yet, like everybody else is encouraging you, I want you to do that. I want you to invest yourself in the process of being an American, and that is an exciting thing for today. And so we'll be praying for you and praying for this nation as we go through tonight and counting all of these votes. It's Tuesday tea with Charlie G. Spend some time with me and tell me what you see. We'll have encouraging lessons, counting all of our blessings. It's Tuesday with Charlie G. Yeah, that's me. Have a great day, everybody. God bless you.